Warning. Oh my goodness. Trigger warning. This episode, we will be discussing, again, body image. We'll be discussing topics of fatphobia, bullying, possibly eating disorders, and more. So if those topics are triggering to you, please proceed with caution. Okay, love you.
Cutest little trigger warning ever.
Right? Thank you. I like how I'm like, okay, bye. And like, we're like, let's get into it. I've been doing the intro, like the music at the beginning of the episodes anyways. So I've been mixing it up a little bit.
Maybe for the ones with trigger warnings, you can do that first. So it's like silent and serious and then music.
So I'm thinking.
And then we can be like, blah, afterwards.
Yeah. Like we're doing now. Yeah. Okay, so this episode, we're actually talking about fatphobia in the plus size community. And it's been a hot topic lately. But before we get into the hot goss, before we get into the heavy hitters, we are going to do a life update, highs and lows.
Yeah.
And Hayley has the biggest news to share. So please, Hayley, what have your highs and lows been this week?
I actually have no news to share, actually. Things have been pretty much the same.
Okay, yeah, we're done. Goodbye.
I'm kidding. I am starting, well, by the time this airs, I will have started a new job. Woo! After like a week shy of 1 whole year of job searching, I accepted a position with a huge company that I will not name. But yeah, I'm not going to dox myself. Very excited about it. Very excited for the extra money that's coming in.
Yeah.
Excited to transition into digital design and work towards working in user experience, product design, stuff like that. It's exactly what I was hoping for. I would say like 95% what I was hoping for.
Bags on bags on bags on bags.
That's right. Getting myself out of debt. And trying to never be that stupid again.
Womp, womp, womp. Happens to the best of us. Happens to the best of us. But congratulations to Hayley. We're so proud of them. Everyone, round of applause. Yay! Congratulations.
Thank you.
Amazing performance this past year. Interviews after interviews after interviews after interviews. Crushed it. Nailed it.
Yes. Growth after growth after miserable growth. I have to say, Brian, with his Akashic Records reading that he did last year, I hated it at the time, but it looks like he was right. So good job, Brian.
Ew, I'm not telling him that. Oh my God.
He's going to hear it.
He doesn't, I don't think he listens anymore like that. It's okay.
What is wrong with our husbands?
It's fine. Like, if they were supportive at first, and then it's like, okay, that was a thing. I don't have to, like, listen. It's fine.
I cannot believe that they don't want to listen to our voices when they're not around us.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't want to hear this at 6 a.m. in the morning? Hello?
Yeah. Us laughing like...
Literally. Everyone, like, getting ready right now was like, exactly. Like, I love brushing my teeth to this. Like, yuck.
God. Oh, God. What else? I mean, that's obviously pretty big news. My husband, I don't know when this is coming out, but he's turning the big 3-0 on April 19th. And on 4/20, we are having a rootin' tootin' pinball tournament for him. And I'm very excited about that.
Hell yeah.
I have a disco ball cowboy hat.
The fit is fire.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
It is.
I'm so excited.
God.
It's feeling like things are turning a corner.
Hell yeah.
Lows amidst these crazy highs. My soon-to-be former boss my former boss, soon to be former boss's boss, has once again been a fucking turd. And I sent out I only gave 1 week notice, so shout out to me for
Yeah.
fucking him over a little bit. But I sent out my formal email and I got all these responses from a bunch of people like they're so happy for me. All this great, wonderful news. And from him, I got a text that was like, congrats on the new role. And then next text, send me the file for what you're working on by the end of today. And it's like, I know what he's like, okay? I
Mm-hmm.
know. But it's like every time I make peace with how he is,
Mm-hmm.
it's like one more fucking whammy. And I cried about that shit. I cried about it Friday, angry cried about it Saturday, had pinball finals, and was the number 1 seed in C division, and then
Mm.
fucking choked and did not advance on to get a trophy. Anyway, how about you? Whoop-de-woo.
Well, we've celebrated your news and how great it is. I just want to say congratulations again. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
We'll do a high five. Nailed it. Things have been pretty good over here. They've been very chaotic. I was big depressy. And then just like last year, Aries seasons came up and I was like, I am a human again. Like it
Oh,
just there's something about Pisces season that makes me so fucking depressed. And then Aries season comes in and I'm like, "Oh, yeah." And like everything is always better. Like it always gets better. Like
it's wild.
it's so crazy like from December into like February. I'm like why I'm
Mm.
like Bella. Like I'm sitting in my window like not a human, just waiting for life. And then it's like literally on the day of Aries season I'm like, "Oh, should I brush my hair?" Like, I don't know what it is. It just happens. And that's what happened this year. Like, everything got better. Like, work is, luckily, I will say, like, since I've been at the shop, work has always just been chill. Like, I love the people I work with.
Good.
That is not a stressful piece in my life. But, like, my relationship with my mom got better. Everyone that has been here for the saga, her and I did have, like, a heart to heart. She allowed me to like go over parts of like my life that she traumatized me during, and she acknowledged the trauma, she apologized for the trauma, and we are like starting to build a better relationship. Oh
I gotta give it
yeah.
up
Oh
for.
yeah.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
dox her. I almost did, but good fucking job, dude.
Yeah, she really did so good. And like I was the one that like realized like in therapy that I had never given her the opportunity to like say she was sorry. Like I just
Mm-hmm.
took the trauma and was like, you know what, I'm going no contact or low contact with you. Like but I
Yeah.
never like sat down face to face because I was scared and been like, hey, like
Yeah.
you damaged me during these times of our life. And so I did, and it was really, really cathartic. And
Good.
she's moving, and things are just, it's chaotic right now because there's a lot going on. Like at
Mm-hmm.
this time, like we're filming 3 back to back. Like my work's really busy. We're launching new merch, and my mom's moving, and just I have classes, and a bunch of stuff is going on. So it's all
Mm-hmm.
happening at once, classic Aries season, but
Oh yeah.
it's all good things. So things have been a lot better.
Good.
That was like the highlight of it, of how great it's been. Brian and I went on a little romantic getaway. That was great.
Where did you go?
We go to Chattanooga.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. We go and we stay in a really yuppie hotel, and
Mm-hmm.
we eat really cheap food though. Like we stay in this really nice place, but then we go to the shadiest restaurant we can find,
I love that
and
though.
we eat there, and we're like rolling up to this really yuppie hotel where they like have valet, and they
Ooh.
try to like open my fucking trunk, and I'm like, dude, it's a 2016, like here are the keys, like I don't know what you think this is. Like but it's like next to like an Audi, like
Yeah.
we
Yep.
stay in like a very night, and we're like, ooh, as we like bring our box fan, and our wait, it's so bad.
That's
But
so funny.
it was fun. We went up there and we ate, we drank, we connected, and then we came home. And that's nice.
Yeah, and then
Mm.
they went back to their house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
came
Saying
home
it.
all right.
Yeah. Saying it without saying it, you know?
I love
Um,
that for you guys. I hope that Jax and I can do something like that soon because financially we just haven't been able to do anything like that in a long time.
yeah.
And he works so hard. I don't think I work hard like he does. Like he absolutely works harder than I do. So I would like to be able to treat him to something like that.
Yeah.
But
It's nice. It was we do like we're trying to be more like active in like date nights. So
mhm.
like we had like a movie night the other night where we went to the store and we got candy and popcorn and
Ooh.
I got
Mhm.
Cokes, and then we like sat and we watched that like damsel movie or whatever where she has like contour and like her makeup was fire. It was like a Netflix movie. It was
Oh,
cute.
okay.
It was
Okay.
cute. But we acted like we were in the theaters, and then we got
Aw.
board games for another night and stuff like that. So like we're trying to be like more present in it,
Yeah. I love that.
in the date nights and stuff, but
Mhm.
it's been good.
Good.
Low wise, to finish this off, I would say things have been really good. Low is I'm just not getting enough. Like I'm not resting. Like I'm just like going and going and going right now.
Mhm.
So I need time to just stop.
Actually
I need
rest.
I
Yeah.
need time to just rest. And like I wanted that to be today, but it didn't work out that way. So I'm
Mhm.
hoping that tomorrow I've scheduled posts. So I'm hoping that tomorrow
Nice.
will be the day where I'm like,
I thought you were going to say you scheduled rest and that concept was hilarious to me. Like from 2 to 5 I'm resting.
well, like I kind of did because I scheduled like my work to where
Mhm.
I can schedule in the rest. You know what I mean? Like I did
Yeah.
everything around. So like, because I just want to sit in the bed tomorrow with my iPad and
Yeah.
just chill and like
Right.
be okay.
I feel
Because
that.
like the calendar is crazy this month. So,
Mhm.
but that other
Yeah.
than that, just not being able to rest, I think is like the only low, which isn't a bad low. That means that things have been pretty good. So
Mhm.
we love that
Yeah,
for
that is
us.
good.
Yeah.
I feel you though about Pisces season. Ugh, I'm so sleepy. I'm always depressy like you.
Mm-hmm.
Aries season, I feel like this time, like I definitely got like a kick in the ass, like energetically. Like the first couple days, I was like, I'm back. But I
Yes.
feel like every Aries season, my emotions, if my husband hears this, whatever, I just act like him during Aries season. And it's like, I love Aries. I love them so much. But they are like big, angry crybabies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like just the smallest inconvenience, I feel like I'm losing my shit.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what am I doing?
Right.
Like feeling this happen,
Mm-hmm.
even all weekend, I was like, this is so stupid to be this upset about it. And I'm not saying that to invalidate my feelings. I'm saying that because I don't feel like it's worth crying 18 times about this. But yet, my tears persisted.
Right.
It's
But
just
yet
annoying.
my tears persisted.
Yeah.
That's an emo song if I ever heard one. But that no, like I totally get it. I've been on the verge of like crying, like
Mm
for the randomest. Like Shannon's at the shop has been off work, like
hmm.
on
Mm hmm.
vacation, so valid. But like she really steers the ship when she's there. So like I've been there by myself, and so like she came back the other day, like from vacation, just to stop in and say hey. And I like
Mm
dead ass, oh like was about to start crying. I was so happy to see her, and the shop's been fine. Like there's
hmm.
no
Yeah.
I was just so overwhelmed by like
Mm
how
hmm.
happy I was. And then we were like watching a TikTok of like this freaking whoever, okay, this creator is on site because like they know what they're doing. It's like a quail baby, it's like a quail chick. And they're
Hmm.
like, hey, watch this quail chick for a minute. I'm gonna go step out. We watch the little baby. And it's so fucking cute, Hayley. I weep every time I see this fucking quail. Like, I'm about to start crying right now. Like, it's the
Mm mm.
cutest thing you've ever seen. And it's like, I can't handle it. It's because it's Aries. Like, it just makes me want to cry. Like, I'm overwhelmed with how cute it is.
I think everyone peep this. We have a Capricorn rising expressing public emotions.
It's so cute, though.
Capricorn rising, I won.
And I'm telling you,
I
so
get it
cute.
though.
So cute.
I cried today because I
Aww.
got it was happy tears, but somebody that I work with had sent me like a response to me responding to one of their stories over the weekend on Instagram and was like, "Hey, congratulations on the role." And I logged in today in my work email and they sent me like a formal email, and it was like, "I know this place always hasn't been such a treat to work at, but I want to just say that I really have appreciated everything you did. Like, you do quality work regardless of how good or bad things are, basically, and like that I balance my skills, my knowledge, and my values in such a great way, and that's not easy to do." And I was like, "Oh my god!"
Oh,
Like,
that's so nice.
I know. And it was so complicated because like I was so happy. I felt so validated and so seen. But it was like I'm hearing this from like I'm not hearing this from the person that should be telling me it.
Right, yeah.
But it's like even if I did, I would still be mad because it's like, why are you telling me this when you're largely the problem here?
Right.
But it was still beautiful. And
Yeah.
I Jax was coming in to say goodbye before he left to work, and I was crying, and I was like, "These are happy tears, don't worry." And he was like, "Well, you made it past 10 a.m. today before crying. That's good."
Oh, God.
So that's how things have been.
Yeah. Aries
But
season be like that. Aries season be like that right now.
yeah, yes, yes, God.
Well,
Anyway,
getting into the episode, sorry everybody, you're gonna get like good 40 minute 30 minutes of this episode on the actual topic. We'll be talking about fat phobia in our own plus size community and how sometimes the call is coming from inside the fucking house.
it so often is.
So often is. I found this really good article on nylon.com, which like I know you guys are like, that's not, like a scientific resource. And it's like, whatever. It was just a really
Yeah.
good article about like the unspoken acceptable plus size body and
Mm-hmm.
the commercialization of body positivity.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it talks about how anti-fatness runs rampant throughout society today, even in the fat community.
Oh, for sure.
And I really liked this quote. It says, internalized fat phobia is so bad, they think it's body positivity. A plus size model and fat activist who has experienced this divide firsthand. When entering the industry, West recalls not being considered socially acceptable enough to be a model due to her size, even
Mm-hmm.
in the curvy market. I think their name, I'm going to say, because the pronouns are she, her, according to this article, I'm going to say Mrs. West. I think it's Sauce West. She says, I didn't understand why on the spectrum of fatness, one size was considered better than the other. I was told by designers that I needed to lose weight, that I needed to become more hourglass, I needed to wear Spanx, and needed to smooth out my stomach to make it more one cohesive belly. And
Ew.
so the article continues like talking about how this model, even in, here to represent the fat community, here
Mm-hmm.
to be, like a spokesperson for plus sizeness and, that like fat representation that we're all needing in the media.
Mm-hmm.
She experienced the fat phobia because she wasn't the acceptable image that we have come to, acknowledge as plus size.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're only
Right.
plus size if you are hourglass. Torrid has been an amazing example of this. They just now started doing non hourglass models.
Oh, really? Just now. And
Yeah,
it's
like
not just
over the past
for.
couple years.
Well, yeah, I know we talked about it before, but it felt like it
Yeah.
was largely like specific to the cut of clothing. Like I know I've talked about those jeans, that the skinny jeans that are cut for people
Mm-hmm.
with larger bellies,
Mm-hmm.
and I only ever saw body shapes like that in those clothes
Right.
specifically.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they're doing that because I feel like I know more plus size people that don't fit that standard than I know that
Yes.
do.
Absolutely. I only in real life,
Mm-hmm.
I never see like a plus size person with an hourglass. It's only
No.
in media. It's only in media are they represented that way.
Right. And if
Yeah.
they are an hourglass, it's certainly not like, it's still not a perfect one, quote unquote, you know?
Right. Well, and I think like, and then even in the article, it says like the plus size hourglass models that do make a living as plus size in quotation marks.
Mm-hmm.
This influencer says it's almost comes across as you don't want to be fat, but that they happen to be fat. So they might
Yeah.
as well make money off being fat,
Hmm.
which is like capitalism, right? Like
Yeah.
you're at home, you're trying to figure out what to do for money.
Yeah.
You I grew up being told I had a pretty face for a big
Mm-hmm.
girl. So it's like I'm sure that's a lot of other plus size people's experiences. So being like, well, if I have a pretty face and I do have an acceptable plus size body,
Mm-hmm.
why not make money off of it and be that plus size representation? But then at the end of the day, like they actually don't like being fat.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like it's like if you were someone who was born like assigned female at birth, I feel like there's so much emphasis put on like commodifying our looks and using our looks to get what we want.
Oh, yeah.
And like, I'm not going to say like, I don't judge that, you know, do what you got to do. We're all just trying to make it in this capitalist hellscape. But
Yes.
I feel like they are doing that because, you know, they are doing that and they might not like being fat, but they probably feel like that's their only course of action, which is
Right.
really sad that we make women feel that way, that all they have to offer is their looks. And
Mm-hmm.
then of course it's reminded that looks don't last forever.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't have enough complexes going on. Like come on.
Yeah. Yeah. I think and the article's actually really good. It gets into like the root being racism. It
Mhm.
does talk. I think it is like a black woman talking about the black community and how their ideas around plus sizeness and fatness. And it's just like I think it's just a really good article and I'm going to link it in the bio about
Okay.
like anti-fatness within the fat community is perpetuated on many levels, from pushing the ideal of the acceptable fat body to its ties to racism and anti-blackness. These issues are so deeply rooted that they've separated the community into fighting for different movements: body positivity, body neutrality, self-love, fat acceptance, fat liberation, while having separated yet related causes does not water down the message at hand. The lack of a united front makes our voices much less powerful. Progress and like to progress forward in a meaningful, long lasting way. And I think that's like,
I fully agree with that.
yeah, that's so true. And that's kind of what's happening right now on TikTok, that we see that creators that have lost weight,
Mhm.
they are pushing the like their narrative of health. And I think that sends like a mixed message to their followers. Like, could you imagine if we, like, I feel like we've done a really good job of how we've had guests on that have different viewpoints. You've had weight
Mhm.
loss surgery. I've been very open about, doing the Ozempic, and I can't remember the other one that I did. And like
Manjaro.
that, like the Manjaro, and about how like we talk about our health issues, but we don't say like only caused by fatness, or you know what I
Yeah.
mean, like we don't make episodes about like intuitive eating and like that's all we talk about, and about like how
Yeah.
we're like health isn't the number one thing we talk about. And I think that that's very important,
Yeah.
because when people do lose weight, I feel like health is all they talk about
Yeah.
in
Which
a
is it's
way.
bullshit. It's
Yeah.
bullshit because like their health is not equal to size. I know we've talked about that extensively, that like no matter how much weight I'm going to lose or how much weight I might gain, back's still going to be fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
The number on the scale is not going to make my discs regenerate themselves.
Right.
That just is what it is. And there's plenty of people that have chronic like internal issues like chronic conditions that they might not be disabled in like a extremely life-altering way, but they are still not ever going to be the picture of health.
Right.
And I think focusing on that is such a problem. But
Yeah.
I also feel like on the other side of it, I think that there are some influencers, this might be a hot take, I don't know. There are definitely influencers that have handled this in a shitty way, like if they've decided to lose weight and if it suddenly seems like they've completely flipped the script, then I could see how their followers would be upset. But at the same time, it's like they are making a personal choice for their own body and like they don't owe you staying at the same size if they don't want to.
1,000%. 1,000. And I think that that's kind of about like when you become an influencer, I think that falls back on transparency. Like when you become an influencer and you agree to document your life, that
Yeah.
is your job. Your job and how you make money is documenting your life and sharing your life and building a brand. I don't think there's anything wrong with as you evolve, so does your content.
Yeah.
I think what happens is for a lot of people, the fat phobia, internal fat phobia, which we've been very honest about having internal fat phobia.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's about saying that with their chest, saying like,
Yeah.
hey guys, now that I am evolving in my journey and I'm willing to share this with you,
Right.
in doing this, it's bringing up a lot of stuff that I am now having to witness within myself. And,
Mm-hmm.
and about like, telling people like, hey, like my content's about to change. Like I had an Instagram that was about weight loss when I was literally starving myself. Like
Yep.
I did, like I documented what I was eating. I shared my weight loss with everybody. And I think
Yep.
like those that wanted to support me and wanted to see it followed along. But at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, like if I was to post something on that account and be like, I can't believe how unhealthy and I was and how I thought that was happiness. Like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa,
I hate that
whoa,
shit though.
baby. Whoa. That's where you took it
Mm-hmm.
across the fence there, babe. Like you went
Yeah.
and your fat phobia is showing here. And it's like recognizing that and being like,
There.
"Ooh, got myself." You know what I mean?
Yeah. There are so many people who get weight loss surgery and are in that community and they got it because they fucking hate themselves.
Yeah.
You have no idea how many posts I see in a week that are like the gist of it is, do you guys ever look at old photos of yourself and get grossed out that you really thought you looked good then? I saw one like just like a couple days ago and I responded, I was like, no, because I didn't hate myself for being big then.
Yes.
I'm just gonna I'll be a bitch. I don't care. That shit
Dude,
pisses me
mic
off so
drop.
bad.
Right, because how many people are seeing that at the size that they
Right.
were and
I
thinking that.
Yes. I am so many people's before pictures right now. Like 170, 180 pounds smaller. I'm the same size as a lot of people before they even start their process to have weight loss surgery.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
it's like,
Yeah.
I'm happy with myself. Like, if they hate themselves, that's on them. But I know how many people are not like strong enough in their sense of selves that it wouldn't completely dysregulate them to see something like that.
Right.
Like, it's just not okay to say shit like that. And I hate that it's so prevalent in the weight loss surgery community.
I mean,
It's
because
bullshit.
so many you nailed it. You hit the nail on the head when you said so many people hate themselves. And like I think that's
Mm-hmm.
why I love that Mama June lady. Like I don't know
Yeah.
if she's problematic or not. I honestly don't know. I haven't done my research and because like I'm so tired of having to research everything. But
Yeah.
like honestly, like her like she'll do like stitches with herself when she was like starting her weight loss journey and like really
Yeah.
trying to be like she's like struggling with her mental health because like
Mm-hmm.
she hated herself when she was big and she's hating herself now that she's small and it's like it's
They think it'll
not.
fix everything.
Yes, and it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't. And then it's like we've talked about the different treatment that you get at different sizes and everything. And like, she's
Yeah.
experiencing that firsthand. You experience that. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, it's extremely difficult when you have outside parties validating those hateful thoughts that you have about yourself.
Yeah.
And I think because being online, there's so many polar opinions coming at you so
Mm-hmm.
fast.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like you can say this like super fat phobic comment and get
Mm-hmm.
so much love for it. And at the same time, so much hate. And
Yeah.
it's like, how do you know when to do the internal work? You know what I mean? Like, how do you tune in? At what time do you tune in with yourself and be like, if the words coming out of my mouth, are they harmful or helpful
Mm-hmm.
to me as an individual in all stages of who I've been?
Yeah.
You
And
know?
yeah, and even to put it in simpler terms, how would I feel if somebody said that to me?
Yeah.
Like, if you wouldn't be happy with it, maybe don't say it. Maybe just keep
Right.
that to yourself and figure out why you wanted to say that to somebody.
Right. Like, why? And we talked about this in the fat phobia episode of like why
Mm-hmm.
it's so acceptable to call fat people disgusting
Yeah.
when there's literally nothing disgusting about being fat. Like, that's such a
Oh,
weird adjective, right? To
yeah.
use, like a weird descriptor.
But if we were to call thin people disgusting or to call them bags of bones or any of the mean shit that you could say about a thin person,
Mm-hmm.
the vitriol that would come back at us for even daring to say something like that.
Absolutely.
But because a thin person said it, it's okay.
Right.
Even though it's
Yeah.
not.
It's not. It's
No.
not. It's not okay. And we've talked about this extensively of how it's just not the best bet is to not comment at all on someone's appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't
Unless
get in
it's nice.
trouble. I mean, but even if
Yeah.
it's nice, like, you never know. Like, having, like, what if somebody was struggling with an eating disorder and they walked up and you were like, wow, you look so skinny.
Oh, I'm not like that.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I,
I
I
wasn't
think that's
sure.
even still, I think that's even still like perpetuating fat phobia. But if it's like,
Yes.
I love the color of your shirt. Your hair looks
Right.
really nice today.
Right. Yeah, that's different. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that there's different categories, absolutely. Because
Yeah.
like, you never know like what someone's struggling with, and I think that that's a big thing that we dealt with when we have guests on in general, like, of, how do you navigate the conversation when it might go in a direction of, is this fat phobic? Like, is what
Mm-hmm.
there is their own internal fat phobia
Yeah.
coming out right now? And how do you call it as you see it? Like, how do you, without offending anybody, like,
Yeah.
and making it a safe space of to have that discussion of, hey, what you said, you know is
Mm-hmm.
inherently anti-fat, and
Yeah.
it's going in line with like, oh, fatness equals unhealthiness, and it's like, that's just not true.
Yeah. It's it's just not true. I do think that one I know that the I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. Whenever we had Rosie on, I know that when we were talking about our perspectives on health at every size,
Mm-hmm.
we were saying that to someone who was a lot bigger than us.
Yes.
And I honestly, at the time, it was like, oh, damn, like I was embarrassed whenever she called us out a little bit. But I feel like it was a much needed reality check because we have no idea what it's like to have been the size she was then.
Yeah.
Like we had of course good intentions, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a perfect example that you can have good intentions and still, put your foot in your mouth. And that's
Abs-
exactly what we did.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
but I think it's all we can do is just try and like do better in the future, but if we're calling someone out, if they aren't receptive to it, I feel like you have to make a judgment call in the moment, like,
Mm-hmm.
because some people you can sort of push in the right direction, but other people, if they haven't done any sort of work at all with themselves, they will double down, they'll get
Yeah.
defensive,
Yes.
and it will just get worse.
Right.
So,
And I think like we handled that so well. I think that
mm-hmm,
we've always spoken from our perspectives and made that
mm-hmm,
very clear that our like we're very, I feel like, aware of ourselves. And I think that when we say like, hey, our opinions come from our experiences,
Mm-hmm.
that's a very true statement that not a lot of people, I feel like, come out the gate with. They
Yeah.
think that their opinion is like the truth of the matter, like this
Yeah.
is the opinion that matters, like this is the one that's correct. And it's like, no, like that's why we have guests on, like that's why we
Mm-hmm.
had Ryan on, like we
Yeah.
wanted to get the male perspective from someone that's plus size, and like assigned male at birth plus size, and like that's
Yeah.
what he gave us. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that that's what Rosie gave us as well, of like seeing like, yeah, like we honestly, like I like that she directed into like worthy at every size, because like
Yeah.
that was the underlining, like what we really are trying to get with this podcast people to realize, is that
Mm-hmm.
no matter what size you are, you're worthy of
Yeah.
respect and fucking basic human dignity. But
Yeah.
like we really don't know what it's like,
Mm-hmm.
but to be at larger than we are now.
Yeah.
But I think that that's why it can hit even harder in the community when you have someone that is larger and loses weight and
Mm-hmm.
then becomes fat phobic. Like they're not
Yeah.
becomes fat, but their inner fat phobia starts coming out because
Yeah.
they start feeling safer in unknown spaces that they weren't previously accepted into.
Yeah.
And like we all want to be accepted, we all want to have friends and feel validated, and like it can happen so quickly. And it's like you really have to have such a firm foundation of self, which so
Mm-hmm.
many plus size people don't even get to have.
Right.
So it's so hard to navigate that
Yeah.
new profound life and experiences that you're having,
Mm-hmm.
because how do you navigate something you've never even begun to experience?
Yeah. That's fair. I think it's also, I feel like there a lot of times, because people do want to belong in groups so badly, like they will kind of go with the status quo at first to be
Mm-hmm.
accepted, which is, I think, exactly what you're describing. Like someone who is a super fat or infini fat, or how, a bigger plus size person, they aren't going to get in a group of people with similar in size to them and say like, I just really want to lose weight. Like if it's not kind of what the group believes, like groupthink is, and then the mob mentality is unfortunately a very real phenomenon. So once they start feeling a little more sure of themselves, the real feelings about how they feel about themselves and other people that look like them inevitably come out. But I also think for some people it could be like a wanting to run with the cool kids thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a blanket statement that everybody who turns or starts acting fat phobic is inherently fat phobic. I think they can be an asshole and like step in it, make mistakes,
Yeah.
but they have to be open to being checked.
Yeah. And I think that's like the big message of like that I would like for the takeaway of the episode to be. It's like, listen, like every community is going to have outliers, and
Mm-hmm.
it's really important to not let those outliers like divide the community, just like we were talking about with the nylon. I'm going to put the link in the bio, but the link that I was talking about, like the issue article, that's the word I was looking for, like the article basically saying like, don't let this internal discussion divide the community. Like at the end
Yeah.
of the day, this is about like taking a dismantled group of individuals, or not dismantled, what was I trying to say?
Divided,
Di- no,
disenfranchised.
disenfranchised group of, and thank you, I'm so glad you're big brain, a disenfranchised group, a community and group of individuals, and bringing them up, getting us choices for in-person freaking clothing options, not
Mm-hmm.
getting like completely dehumanized online, having our
Yeah.
voices heard in the same room as standardized individuals, like. And you can't let the fat phobia within the community stop this momentum of the
Mm-hmm.
message, of the actions that we're trying to get, and the freedoms that we're trying to get, and the rights that we're trying to get. And it's so
Yeah.
hard when you have all the videos like going viral of like,
Yeah.
oh, like this influencer like lost weight or got weight loss surgery and now they're fat phobic and this is why we can't do this, blah blah. It's like, no, like they're not the reason why. They were
Mm-hmm.
probably an asshole as a plus size person before they lost weight. Like they're
Yeah.
just
They
speaking
played it
louder
cool.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just louder now because they're
Mm-hmm.
more comfortable.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that I feel like the other end of that extreme where like just what I was saying earlier, how people will turn on fat people who lose weight, this idea that no one can ever make a different decision about their own bodies is
mhm,
not going to get us where we want to go either.
exactly. I
It's
agree.
just not. Like people are going to lose weight or gain weight for whatever reason, and like that's their choice. Like you don't know how they're living. You don't walk a day in their shoes. You don't know the type of pain they're in or they're not. You just don't, you can't make that judgment call from
Right.
outside of the house. It's just,
Yes.
it's not really your business. Like you
No,
can
I
call them on being an asshole,
yeah.
but it's not because they lost weight.
Exactly. And I think that that goes into like I was listening to a podcast that talked about like a creator was talking about how on the internet it's so hard for people to accept duality in situations.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what this is the duality of
Yeah.
people are allowed to do with their bodies what they want. Like
Yeah. And you're
as
not
long as
always
it's
going
not
to agree.
yeah, and you're not. And like if they are choosing to be an asshole, like call them out on being an asshole. But like
Mm-hmm.
if I was to make content today, like you make content about your weight loss journey, like,
Mm-hmm.
could you imagine someone being like, wow, Hayley, you're so anti fat? Like, when were you fat phobic? Like, you know what I mean? Like, bring up the
Yeah.
clip, bring up the,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
you,
I welcome it. I
you
don't
know,
I don't give a shit what they fucking think, but I
I
welcome
know.
it.
But like I know because it's you. But like even if I was like if I choose to get weight loss surgery, we're
Mm-hmm.
still gonna be the plus size section no matter our size. Like
Yeah.
and I, of because I'm like hyper aware, like me, like I would absolutely let people know, like, hey, my content is about to change because my life is changing. Tune in
Mm-hmm.
or tune out. I do that even when I went from like being a super witchy account to being a more tarot account. I was like, guys,
Yeah.
hey, the content's changing. And I did lose followers, and that's fine. So I
Yeah.
think it is about giving people like that opportunity to like consent, I guess, to like the new content, like
I
because there
guess.
like there's
I
this there I guess because there's this topic of like I don't know what I just said about like it's a discussion of when people start a health journey or like start like intentional eating, like intentional dieting, and like they're like they tend to like they not this one creator was like, let me share with you, like take you on the journey with me, a day in my
mm-hmm.
life of like intentional eating. And like I guess they're known to be like a plus size creator. And so people are like, what the fuck? Like we didn't like want to go on this journey, but it's also like you're then don't
But
consume the content,
yeah, I mean
you
that
know?
that right there is my whole thing with it. Like
Yeah.
I know that you try very, very hard to not intentionally offend anybody. And I think that that is really admirable. But I feel like at the same time, if you're giving people PSAs about your content changing, I feel like it's opening the door for opinions. And if that's what you want to do with your account,
True.
pop off, dude. If you want to talk about like buttholes or Rick and Morty and like you just want to completely change your content, do what you want to do.
Yeah.
I might not like butthole talk, but like whatever. It's
Yeah.
your account. It's not mine. If I don't want to
True.
talk about that, then I won't post it.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah. I
think
think it's
it's a weird parasocial relationships I feel like are very weird
yes.
because there's like this ownership over the people and it's like whoever you follow, like if you love an influencer, God forbid they ever fucking change.
Yeah.
Because then that means they were a fraud and they're this, that, and the third, and you can't believe that you ever fell for it. And like some of them do fucking suck.
Yeah.
But especially the influencers that are like 20 in between 20 and like 27. Oh my god, I feel
Oh
like
my
I
god.
was I died and was reborn 18 times between 20 and 30.
God, yeah. Yeah.
So,
And you're so right because it doesn't I like fall into that trap. Like I fell into like that responsibility and
mhm,
even the way we speak now, like I like we won't get into it, but like we speak very differently because of TikTok now and
mhm,
I fell into that as as a content creator of like having to be like, "Hey guys, like I am changing my content," or like, "Hey, I had to take a break because my grandma died, but like I have to tell you that and I haven't."
it's
And like
fucking weird.
it's so weird and like my content really hasn't been the same since she died and it's
Yeah.
like it's so hard to explain that. It's so hard to explain like even like when I posted about like, my health issues that I had to
Mhm.
grieve. I didn't do the trigger warning, so I'm not going to talk about it. But
Yeah.
like I felt like I had to post about it and then I was like, dude, like this is my private grief and I
Yeah.
took
Your
it
grief
down.
is not content for consumption.
Yes, and it's
That's the
so
thing.
hard to and like so I get it. Like it is that duality of like listen, like you're allowed to change, you're allowed to evolve,
Mhm.
you're allowed to lose weight, gain weight, whatever you want. But it's also like, okay, if you're being fat phobic, people are allowed to fucking call you out on being fat
Mhm.
phobic, dude. Especially when
Yeah.
you built your platform off the back of plus size people.
Yeah. I
Period.
yeah. I don't disagree with that at all. I
Yeah.
think the one thing that I did kind of perk my ears up with though, when you were talking about an influencer who practiced intuitive eating and was talking about it, I think I don't know, maybe my goblin brain was like, wait, so they think plus size people can only practice unintentional eating? Like we can't
Yeah.
be mindful of the shit we put in our bodies?
I mean, I even talked about that with
Feels
Danny
fat
about
phobic.
being, yeah, it is. I mean, I talked about that, remember, about how I do
Yeah.
intuitive eating. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not out here pushing it on people. And I think that's the difference. I think, like, when you go so far off the spectrum, like, when you build your platform on being like pro fat, body inclusivity, like, and then like, boom, it's a light switch. You're like, actually, it's giving like I know that this is very niche, but like in the spiritual community, what happens is like these super high spiritualists that like build their millions of dollars off the people, like spiritual people, they all of
Mhm.
a sudden will flip a switch to Christianity. Like it
Oh yeah.
happens so much. It's giving that energy of like I've made my money off of you and like now I made a personal decision for me,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, like everything that I said I really believed in and really built your trust on, actually, I don't think that way. And it's like, probably because you
I,
never thought that way. You probably always hated yourself and just wanted to fit in with a community. You found the
yeah.
community, and then boom, now that it's like, like,
But also like in the vein of intuitive eating, say, they started their account when they were 24 and now they're 30. I
mhm,
don't know about y'all, but after I turned like 28, some foods just started to not sit right.
yeah,
So it's like if somebody practices intuitive eating because dairy makes them like shit water for hours, like it is intuitive eating, but like are you expecting them to eat dairy because that's what they used to eat and that's what
right.
you're comfortable with? Like I just feel like that's crazy.
I think it depends on how you portray the information. I think there's
Maybe.
a honest, transparent way to portray information, and then
Mhm.
there's like a harmful way. And I think that
That's
that
true.
is where some creators in the plus size community that's the disconnect is instead of
Yeah.
being like, "Hey, honestly guys, like I was faking my confidence
Mhm.
because I was trying to figure out a way to accept my fat body. And at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I just fucking couldn't. I
Yeah.
just couldn't. I had to get this weight loss surgery because I literally fucking hated myself as a plus size person. And I know that's problematic. And I know I need to get therapy about it because
Mhm.
I know it's fat phobic. Like, follow along with me as I undo this narrative. Like, that's
Yeah.
different. Like, preach, baby.
That's authentic.
That's authentic. Every fat
Yeah.
person has been there. You know what I mean? Like, yes. But instead, they're like,
Brand new bitch. Yeah.
brand new bitch. And it's like, damn,
Yes.
dude, like you gave me confidence as a plus size person. Like I believed I was rooting for you,
Yeah.
And they
That
flipped
makes
this,
sense.
and it's like, and I think that's
Yeah.
what happened. I think like it's not just about intuitive eating. It's more like, oh, my body at, 300 pounds used to crave Coke and these donuts, but now at 160, all of a sudden I'm intuitively eating carrots and celery. It's like, baby, no one falls, no one's listening to that. No one believes you. Everyone, everyone sometimes wants a soda pop.
Yeah.
Everybody craves a soda pop, and that's okay. Like, I have a husband to prove it.
I must just not see a lot of those types of videos.
It's only
but
because
I'm
I was
also
doing
over here taking shit very literally too. Because I'm like, what do you mean you want somebody to eat gluten because they used to?
No.
What kind of shit is that?
It's not like that. It's like all of a sudden I'm 130 pounds and this is what I'm intuitively wanting. But it's like, no, like, you know that you're doing that because you're trying to be in a deficit. Like, just say it. Like, say that you are wanting to lose weight. Like, be authentic with what's going on. And I think that's what's getting lost, but they don't, because if they do, they'll lose money. Like, does that make sense? Like, it really comes down to money.
They're trying to pussyfoot around and keep all their brand deals and stuff. When, I mean, good Lord, I have learned over my career as not an influencer, just being someone that works in an office, that being honest and authentic and just telling it like it is not popular.
Yes.
So people would rather pussyfoot around. I get it, but
you would love working where I love. You would love working where I work. You would love it.
I'm sure I would.
One of my friends said with their chest that they were difficult. They were like, I'm difficult. I know it. And I was like, whew, I wish my friend Hayley was here, baby.
Even just hearing that, I'm like,
they didn't give a shit. They're like, I know I'm being difficult. And like, mic drop. And everybody was like, okay.
Period. God. The power.
The power. It's so nice. It's made me a little bit more spicy, but we all needed it. I think I needed a little bit of a backbone,
You did. You 100% did. I love it for you. I'm sorry to pass Sam. I'm just glad you're standing up for yourself.
I really am. I'm being better. But I feel like that's a good ending to our fatphobia in the plus size community. I think the whole thing could be avoided by saying it with your chest, admitting that you're being fatphobic and keeping it moving and doing the internal work that clearly needs to be done. And to those in the community that are, contributing to the divide,
stop it.
Like, we need to stay as united as we can to make movements happen.
Yeah.
Keep change actually going. So let's try to be better. I will also try to be better. So,
I will too. I will try to be better. But
yeah,
I'm already pretty good. So
yeah, I mean, you're kind of the best. So. Oh my God.
Ego inflated.
Speaking of, where can they find us?
Speaking of the best, you can find the best podcast that you've ever heard of on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads at Plus Size Section, on TikTok at The Plus Size Section. If you want to send us emails, stories, anything, no nudes, please, you can do that at the plus size section at gmail.com. As we discussed, what would be last week now, our ratings have taken a little bit of a nosedive. So if you want to give us a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-star review and rate that shit, you can do that and should do that. And also share the podcast with your friends. Sam and I will love you forever.
Forever.
Okay,
bye. Love you.
Goodbye.